Alrighty, Dan. Are you familiar with the concept of flow state?
I am not. Please, please, yes.
Alrighty, Dan. Are you familiar with the concept of flow state?
I am not. Could you please describe it to me or
All right.
explain it?
So there's a psychologist, right? He's
Hmm.
got a really long name to pronounce, but the article that I read, it said pronounce it like this. It's Mihai Csikszentmihalyi.
Bless you.
Yes. After being a prisoner in World War II, seeing people around him sad and suffering, he wanted to go and study happiness, which he then became a psychologist, right? Oh, sorry. Then became
That's
a
good.
psychologist after attending a lecture in Switzerland. And so, as became a psychologist and studying happiness, he discovered that happiness is not a state of being, but that it can be shifted by what he calls flow, right?
Okay.
He finds that people are most happy when they reach flow, making them both creative and productive, like us. We're creative and, well, maybe not the productive part, but creative and productive.
Mm-hmm.
He names it flow because the people he interviewed described the state as where work flowed out of them without effort. And in this state of mind, we lose like track of time. So, like, time moves faster or slower. And
Hmm.
then the whole experience of what you're doing is rewarding and effortless, or it feels rewarding and effortless versus, like, if you're doing like a mundane job or something, you're like, I don't want to do this, or you're doing something else, and you're like, I don't want to do that. And then you're in a balance between your challenges and skills. I sent you a diagram, and then I put this diagram on our handy dandy little pegboard that we got right here. But
Ooh. Okay.
yeah. So in the diagram, you can see, like, it's just there's a balance between the challenges and skills, right? Where it's challenging, like, so you can see like the in between section of where it's just like it feels effortless, and like it's just, well, it's explained as flow. So then there's
Hmm.
like the two sections that are both in red, and it just says anxiety and boredom. So flow is that middle section where it's like challenging enough to not feel bored, but also challenging enough, not challenging enough to where you feel just anxious. So
Okay.
now,
Yeah, that makes total sense.
obviously, for both of us, when it comes to flow, we're both, both of us as creators, I think we find ourselves in the state of quite often, and what we do, whether it's like writing or recording and stuff like that.
Hmm.
And well, at least I do, and I know I've recently found it in terms of just like what I'm doing on YouTube, and in what I'm doing on YouTube with Minecraft, and just in music in general, writing. Now, I wanted to ask you, have you ever entered flow?
Yeah. You know what? A lot of times, more than I actually think of. I guess I knew the term flow state now that thinking about it without like fully realizing the whole story behind it.
Mhm.
Just I knew like you get in the groove, you get in the groove, right?
Yeah.
Or or you don't. But yeah, I get it quite often. I actually had it last week. I was thinking of
Mhm.
as you were explaining it, where I had a bunch of articles I needed to write because I freelance write articles.
Mhm. No, Dan, Dan, no.
All right, sorry.
Welcome back.
Thank you. Okay, but yeah, so you know, I write a lot of articles, and I recently, as you know, we play a lot of Marvel Rivals here.
Mhm.
Um, aside from doing our content creation duties. And well, I thought, what's a better way to kind of write something that I love with doing something that I love.
Mhm.
I like playing Marvel Rivals, and I guess I'm getting more to like the loving part of it. And I love reading comics, so I thought, you know what, let's take some topics from Marvel comics
Mhm.
that are introduced into Marvel Rivals, or what I would like to be introduced, and and put those into articles. So I actually had three that I needed to do.
Mhm.
And of course, I had a couple things on mind, like certain characters I think would be good for the game, big name characters, less name or lesser known characters, and like variants too, because of course they have variant characters in there already.
Mhm.
And so I thought, why don't I do stuff like that? And when I first started, I had a couple of names on mind already, but like I sat down, got into writing and doing research of like, okay, what other characters would be good for this? And of course, that was at one point like, oh, I don't know where to start. So that there's the kind of boredom and anxiety part where I was kind of on both sides. Where I
Mhm.
was like, ooh, what if I don't sound good enough? Or what if I'm picking the wrong people, because these were people who I know from the comics that have either been in movies and shows or been mentioned or haven't at all.
Mhm.
and that, maybe longtime fans, because there's people who know a whole lot more than I do.
Hmm.
I would say I know more than the average person, but I don't know like what a huge collector or person with extensive comic knowledge knows.
Hmm.
So trying to pick through them, I was like, okay. But once I got into the groove, I picked them. I looked at all their stuff, their abilities, their introductions into comics when they, everything from like the 40s till now. And I got into the flow state where I actually cranked out like 3 articles back to back. Each one was about, I want to say, almost 2,000 words each.
Ooh.
And yes, and that didn't take me too long. I mean, once I actually got the physical writing down, they each only took me about an hour to write. Um,
Mhm.
and that was with a couple of fact checking and doing stuff. But I got into that flow state pretty quickly. And same thing when it comes to like formatting them, because once I'm done writing, I put them into the website we use, which is kind of like a WordPress style website.
Mhm.
And yeah, and formatting all that to adhere to the style that the site uses, and then of course adding all the tags on characters, franchises, big name things, then adding your links, your external, internal links, and then your recommended articles, your pictures. Yeah, I get into the flow pretty quickly on that one too, and then that doesn't take me as long as it should. All that takes me about 30 minutes, hour at the most if I have like a lot of trouble looking for pictures.
Mhm.
Um, to use that aren't copyrighted or aren't like another site's media. But yeah. So no, I've definitely had that last week. I had a little bit yesterday too.
Mhm.
Writing.
Mhm.
Idea came to me in the shower. Gotta love shower ideas.
Mhm. Shower
But
thoughts.
exactly. But yeah, I had like a small burst of inspiration to write something, and the moment I got out, I was like, no, I needed to write this down. Otherwise, I'd forget this one line of something that I wrote, and I was like, okay, I had to do it because it sounded really good.
Now, compared to like when you're writing, like so using like so you enter the flow state while writing, right? Now comparing that to just like relaxing and chilling. Are you more happy when you're in the flow state or when you're just chilling and relaxing, like doing nothing? Where do you find yourself more happy?
Oh, that's a hard question.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know. I'm gonna say generally out of the flow state,
Oh, okay.
because I mean it's nice to get into the flow,
Mm-hmm.
obviously. Like say I'm writing something personal. I have like a bunch of little side projects I love writing,
Mm-hmm.
and I love getting into where like, okay, this is sci-fi, or this is fantasy, or this is a combination of both, or I'm adding new elements in.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, when you get into the flow, it's fun. But I guess for me is I do get in the flow, but I also get blocked really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Um, where I have that inspiration and that creativity, flowing through me as good as it can, and then I end up hitting, that wall where it's just like, okay, where do I continue from here?
Mm-hmm.
Should I stop, or I don't know how to continue, or I feel like it's starting to dwindle. Whereas, like say we're just here chilling, I
Mm-hmm.
could have music on, and I'm just kind of here
Mm-hmm.
with music talking, or we could play like Marvel Rivals or like another game,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, even on like what games we're say like we're playing a competitive game and we're
Mm-hmm.
losing, that still doesn't make me feel as not bad,
Is like
of course.
deterred by just mental block.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so I definitely feel like I'm more happy out of flow state because I can find different ways to give me inspiration and to, I guess, give me that boost of creativity or that boost of
Mm-hmm.
inspiration where, like, okay, I don't want to listen to music anymore. Or if I'm done hanging out with you guys, or if I'm just chilling on my own, right?
Mm-hmm.
Be like, okay, I'm not in the greatest mood. Let me go watch some wrestling clips. And then that'll pick me up right away,
Mm-hmm.
or let me go watch the Superman trailer,
Mm-hmm.
or, something like that, or go rewatch like Game of Thrones clips.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Now, as a creator, I know at the beginning, I think a lot of people that we work with and stuff like that, we mainly started alone, right? Because we started our channels and stuff, and we were working alone. And now, do you think you worked better with like getting into the flow when you were working alone back when you started just working on your own channel and it was just you, or do you find it better to work and get in the flow with other people nearby, and like also other people just getting in the flow along with you.
I definitely think other people.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, me, I am. I feel like I bounce off people a whole lot better.
Mm-hmm.
Like we can bounce ideas off of each other and be like, okay, that works, that doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
Or I guess I'll go back to an event that we played on, which was Fever Dream,
Mm-hmm.
which was like this huge content creator
Mm-hmm.
event where I kind of took the opportunity to be like, okay, let me see how kind of fun and wild I can be and spontaneous
Mm-hmm.
with other people around, people who I've never met before.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that worked out so much better for me generally, and even just like on Lotus, where we can I can be sitting here building something on the side, but then somebody comes and distracts me and it says like, hey, you want to go on an adventure?
Mm-hmm.
Be like, yeah, sure. And maybe it might take like a couple minutes to kind of adjust to each other getting here,
Mm-hmm.
or sometimes it's instantaneous, depending on the person.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I definitely feel like I personally work a lot better with other people and getting into that, because you feed off of each other's energy
Mm-hmm.
and excitement and all that jazz.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I hope you learned quite a bit about flow, and obviously we share somewhat the similar thing, because like I like when I was starting off, it was very hard to get. Well, it was easy. It was somewhat easy to get into the flow, but I think I enjoy it more. I get more satisfaction when I'm going in it with other people, because, like you said, bouncing off ideas. Like currently here, we're in our own house, but this is like our area that we're working on together, and then there's other creators working out everywhere else doing their own thing as well. So I think I like previous like seasons that we've done. We were just doing separate things. But like this season, we're working together and we're bouncing off ideas, and we have like outside there's stuff out there that just has labels of what we plan on doing and things that we've already built and done and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Yeah, and of course we get to kind of learn from each other, and I think that's one of the best things is dealing with other people versus on your own, where you can build something and you think it's good and you want other people's opinions, but you don't know who to go to. Like when you're first starting out, obviously. You don't have that network of friends or other content creators to be like, hey, give me your opinion. What can I do to improve it? What do you think I can change? And that's actually like another good way of flow is how does this building flow with the area? How can I make this work with what I'm trying to go for?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's always good, and then of course we've done a really good job to kind of take inspiration off of each other. Like I took a lot of inspiration off the building that we've done here
Mm-hmm.
with what I've built, in our area. So yeah, I think that definitely works a whole lot better in my opinion for me and for us.
Yeah. Well, thank you for joining me, Dan.
Well, thank you for having me.
I hope we go and do more flow stuff.
Definitely, we definitely will, buddy.
And scene.
Let's go.
Wait a minute.